This is Lowell Hammond, DJ, producer, composer, and music supervisor, and you're listening to the Liverpool Connection Podcast, music and football episodes.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. This is my music and football episode where I bring on a musician, DJ, producer to talk about the two loves, which are music and football. My next guest has been in the dance music scene for a very long time. Put out so many good tracks. Some of my favourites on Gorilla Records. If anyone remembers that label, you should, because it was early prog house. But he's a DJ, producer, music supervisor, and composer. We're going to get into it. He's also a football supporter, a Spurs supporter, but lives around the corner from Crystal Palace. So he's got a season ticket to watch Palace. Very unusual that for me, because when I live back home, Everton's around the corner from me, but you won't see me going to Goodison Park. No chance. I'm very pleased to bring on Lowell Hammond to the podcast. It's great to have you, mate. And
great to meet you, Daz.
That is very unusual. A Spurs supporter with a Palace season ticket.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I love the idea of just being able to literally walk to Selhurst Park. And when I started seeing them, they were literally bottom of the championship. I don't know if you remember those days. Just come out of administration. And the player I used to love watching was Zaha. He was only like 17. He was amazing. And literally, as I started watching them, they started going up. I don't know if they got promoted the first year, but they got there in the end. They won a playoff against Watford. He scored the goal. Well, I think he was brought down for a penalty. So, I mean, the Tottenham thing, basically I was born in Stoke Newington, North London. And when I was born, like, the whole thing was you always supported the sort of club you was nearest to. Our whole class was split in two with Tottenham and Arsenal. So I was always a Tottenham fan. But yeah, I just love football. With Spurs, when they were away, I used to go and see Enfield Town. So when Tottenham's, it's always like, I mean, if Palace or Tottenham, weren't playing, I'd go and see Dally Jamley. So I just have to get my fix, Daz. You're probably the same. So it grew out of that. Anyway, there was no conflict. So Palace Championship, and then of course Palace come up into the Premiership. So it started getting a little bit weirder then. Sort of pivoting between the two. But most of my Palace mates, well, the funny thing was, down at Palace, especially when I was in the Championship, everyone next to me supported you. They were Man United fans. We used to go with Man United fans, Chelsea fans, a bit like Brentford. I remember going there was all Chelsea fans down there because a lot of people, obviously their clubs are away the following week. So, as I say, they want their football fix. So, I mean, the clubs wouldn't complain, I guess, because obviously they're paying money, helping the clubs. I mean, when I first used to see Palace, there was sometimes 11, 12,000 in there. That's all. But it holds 26, Selhurst, but it's always been capacity since they went up in the Prem. But I think they were glad to have the peeps on board, you know what I mean? Because it helped with the revenue. Everyone's sort of buying a ticket and buying bits and pieces, food and drink. So, yeah, it's funny because they're both very different clubs, aren't they? I mean, Palace definitely more of a family, 4 guys that have bought it, and it's got more, and I've done a lot of stuff with the Palace Foundation, mentoring kids, on the music film side I do. And there's definitely feels like a more community based, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but I don't know about Spurs. Those clubs are very big, including your own, aren't they? Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. They're sort of a different Man City. Then you got the teams like that whole sort of Brighton, Fulham, Palace. Different, maybe, I'm sure. I mean, it's changing, isn't it? I mean, I think this season, apart from you guys, the only team that have been consistent, I think this season has been about Aston Villa, Fulham, Palace, Brighton. Don't you think? I think those are the guys. They're the winners.
100%. I mean, it's actually been refreshing to watch, the so-called, middle teams actually. Like, and I don't like this, what's been thrown about, especially about Liverpool. Like, it's been the worst league
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, you always get those people like
Yeah,
they
great.
just hate Liverpool. They really do. So they'll find
I think a
something.
lot of people just don't like success, mate. To be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I've really like you know, Notts Forest for the longest time were in second place. You know, they've fallen off just because their squad's just not that deep enough.
Sure.
But to see like the Villas like go far in the Champions League, it has made me happy. And just like you, I'm not just a Liverpool supporter. I'm a football supporter as well. I love watching the game. You know, and you know, when it comes to tribalism, it's a lot different when you go to the matches. You know, you see the opposing fans, and you'll have a good banter with them. But then
Mm.
when you're just watching it on the telly, you know, I'll watch football all day long if I can. I can't because I've got 4 kids and a wife that'll go, stop it. You know, that's enough. You know, 4 hours of football, get off. But yeah, it's just been refreshing for me. And you know, team
Yeah.
Bournemouth, like have
Yeah.
really like, stepped up. And I think next season the league will be tougher. You know, your Man Cities and your Arsenals are gonna, you know, spend more money. But I think these other teams, if they can keep the most of the squads together, like the Bournemouths, like the Palace,
And their managers, I guess.
yeah, and the managers, I think it'll be a much better
Oh, I think
Premier League.
most competitive league in the world, isn't it, Daz? When you think
Yeah.
about, look how Man United have been pretty appalling this year, as well as,
And I'm loving it.
but they battered, didn't they, Atletico Bilbao 7-1. And
Yeah.
Atletico Bilbao, I think they're about fourth in La Liga. There's a massive, apart from your Bayern Munich, your PSGs at the respective countries, but and Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe Atletico, there's a big drop off. I mean, and I think it's definitely the most competitive league in the world. Definitely.
Yeah, that's why, you know, you have to be consistent. It is the bread and butter of any team in the Premier League. And, you know, I'm really proud of Liverpool. Like, if you'd asked me at the start of the season, you know, would we win the league? I mean, I have been asked. I laughed, like with a brand new manager, no chance. I mean,
Who
it
was
was
the
like,
favourite before Slot? Was it Man City the favourites?
oh
Uh,
yeah, it was City and Arsenal, you know, and
Arsenal had a funny one, haven't they? It's even their fans are. I'll say that as a football fan, so fickle, weren't they? Even they started turning on their manager a bit. I mean, they went really far in the Champions League as well, didn't they? As well, it's tough. I mean, you almost got. Well, you have got to have two teams, haven't you?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, that's the thing, you know. If that's why the quad's never been done. Is you
Yeah.
know, and again I find it really funny when like, Liverpool have lost the quad. I'm like, isn't that every team's like you aspire to win every trophy that you're in? But it
Cool.
just seemed like it was Liverpool that only went for the quad. It's like every team at the start of the season has a clean slate, right?
Sure, sure.
And they want to win the League Cup, the FA Cup. If you're in the Champions League, you want to win that. You want to win the league. So
Sure.
just Liverpool, but it's because we're such a big team and we do go far in a lot of these. But these days, you know, like last season, we just ran out of steam. It's because we're in every competition and we go far in them.
Yeah.
Like you said, yeah, you pretty much need 2 11s.
You do if you're playing Thursday night, I don't know, out in Finland or Norway, and then on Sunday lunchtime you're playing a really tough game in the Prem. I mean, players can't, they just can't. That's why a lot of those teams, Wolves, those teams that have had a season or two in Europe, they've really struggled, haven't they? They've really struggled. They're just about, got a good first 11, let alone playing in two, and then you take on board all the injuries. I mean, that's what's happened to Spurs, basically, really. But it could happen to it. Yeah, I mean, I suppose teams like Chelsea, Arsenal, you need a big squad. Are you still bringing players forward, Liverpool? You still from the academies and that? You've got a good record at that, haven't you?
Yeah, we do, but as we all know, like you they have to. If you want them to succeed, I mean, Trent and Gerrard and Carragher
Oh,
do the
I'm
account.
saying, do you miss those Gerard Carragher days, or do you like that
Of
connection?
course, of course I do. Just because, like, Scousers mean the world to me,
Yeah,
and
We were saying Harry Kane, so I understand.
Yeah, seeing them through, it makes you proud when they're on the pitch. I mean, we still have Curtis. I mean, Trent's obviously leaving for Real Madrid. I still don't understand it as as a local lad. I don't understand the booing. I think the booing was wrong.
Oh, is that what he's getting when he turns up?
Yeah, well, his last match at Anfield, he got booed when he came on, and every time he touched the ball, he got booed. Now, again, I'm not that person saying do this, do that. The booing, they sung the Stevie G song before, while he was coming on, and I get that. I get people are angry because we're going, look, you play for the best team in the world, Liverpool, and you're going to our, nemesis, Real Madrid. But he's been...
How old is he, Daz? How old is he?
26. He's been with us for 20 years since he was 6.
Probably in his defence is probably... I can understand, what it's like when you do a job. You might want to change it. Doesn't mean you don't like your job. But it's sort of bit now or never maybe as well, isn't it? Maybe. I don't know, when they're 28, 29, people seem to call on them, don't they?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Lol, is because he's going for free.
Right. Did he run his contract down on purpose then?
Well, that's the thing. People are making their own minds up. Like, did he run his contract down? Did he already? People are going, he already started learning Spanish 2 years ago. It's just in people's minds, they'll come up with something to kind of back themselves up. I just think he wanted a change, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But I think the club also should have just said in the summer, like, if you don't decide, you're in your last 12 months, if you don't say yes to a new contract, then we got to sell you.
Yeah.
So that's what Real love. They got Mbappe for free, remember, because he
That's right.
PSG.
Yeah.
He said he wasn't signing a new contract, and Real Madrid give them the 50-60 million sign-on bonus. So that I think that's one of the biggest things that's like pissing Liverpool fans off. If we got some money for him, I think they'd be like, thank you for what you've done for us.
Sure.
You don't wish you luck because you're going to be playing for Real, but we appreciate what you've done. But fans are fans. They just get pissed off.
Pretty down on Madrid, aren't you? That final with the matey boy took out Salah on purpose. It was so obvious, sort of body.
Yeah, Ramos. Yeah, dirty player, and he elbowed Carrier as well in the face. But it's one of those. It's like Trent has given Liverpool fans so many amazing moments. I mean, corner taken quickly. That will stay with me forever, and I'm sure it will. So, I mean, just good luck to him. But I want to get back to you. So, who was your childhood football hero?
Glenn Hoddle.
The man.
Yeah, I just so obviously it was brilliant. My first sort of teams, all those teams with Villa, Ardiles, Hoddle, and all that. And it was great. It was great. Yeah, he was such an amazing player on the ball, wasn't he? Ahead of his time, maybe. Very European sort of, and I always loved the Brazilians. Actually, I was bonkers on the Brazil team in the 80s and 90s, and but he almost played like one of them, didn't he? Or the Dutch, and just a really skillful. There wasn't so many players like those days, was there? I used to love Hoddle, man. Used to love. I think most. How could you not rate if you love football? Your team was amazing as well, wasn't it? Well, I say as well, we weren't amazing. It was a good cup scene, actually, Spurs in the 80s and 90s. But that was amazing, wasn't it? With that team, all those great Scottish players you had as well. I love seeing this. Dalglish was amazing. I loved him at Celtic as well. Oh my God, he'd be in my top. I loved Kenny Dalglish. I mean, yeah, was he a big one for you? He must have been.
He was, but it was Kevin Keegan for me.
Because you're a bit later. Is it the next generation, really? Would you say?
No. Well, I went to my first match in '76, and that was last year that Keegan played, And I had the posters. I got me mum and dad to buy the posters. My granddad was a Liverpool supporter, so took me every home match.
Well, Ray Clements went between us two, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Unusual.
Another class act. I mean, that's the thing. I think footballers back then were such class acts on and off the pitch. They always had time, you know.
Yeah, I remember meeting Pat Jennings in the local Tesco's, and he was chatting about he was a good goalkeeper, wasn't he? He went to Arsenal, didn't he? Which is quite bonkers, like Sol Campbell. Is it the same with? It's not really the same with Liverpool Everton, is it? Or is it naughty? Is it bad if they go between the two?
It's bad. Yeah, I mean,
what about Tranmere Rovers that we were?
Well, Tranmere Rovers. I mean, there's only, like we always say, Liverpool sport. There's only two teams in Liverpool: Liverpool first team and Liverpool reserves, and then the rest of them can sod off.
Oh, I've had a few Everton mates over the years. It's that must be tough, you know. And it's mad what's happening in Manchester because I used to play DJ loads in Manchester, and all my Manchester mates were all Man City when they was like in the old second division or whatever. And they was always the underdog, always had a soft spot for them, and I love the sky blue colour as well. And and that's mad. And now they're the biggest. It's just you couldn't make it up.
I know it makes you know. I don't like the new City. You know, the 100.
Yeah, I think because I think they've lost a bit. I think they've reached a bit of a sort of plateau as well. The whole thing, obviously, with Kevin De Bruyne signing off, and a lot of the players, and without Rodri, they're very ordinary, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And I think they're. It's bonkers. They spent I think they spent 150, 200 million at Christmas.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
They all look bloody average, didn't they?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's kind of the same thing with Klopp. His last season, we got found out. Klopp's system got found out. I think Pep's system is getting found out.
I do. Well, I think
he can't play that system. Like, I mean, it was the oldest team that was put out this season that City just played, and you can tell even though they beat Bournemouth, they come up against a better team. They're getting smashed. They're just not the same. They're not the same at the back. Edison is not the same goalkeeper he was 2-3 seasons ago.
Oh, he was amazing, actually. Him and your guy, I think they're two best goalies in the Prem.
Yeah, Alisson is just oh my God. Like, thank God for Coutinho leaving us and Barcelona paying 125 million.
Two boys, didn't you? You got Van
Dijk and Alisson. Yeah.
He just went out. It's just something Spurs have never done. But I love the way you were missing. You had Lovren and that, didn't you? And you obviously needed, So, and obviously the guy from the Champions League final and that. So you needed those two. There were two holes in the team, and you went out and fixed it, and you just put them. And I love that, and it really paid off. I think there has to be. Levy's I think there has to be a bit of risk taking, doesn't there? And your guys obviously just because that was a big splash out. But like you say, and Coutinho was never the same, was he? His career.
Barcelona, then Bayern Munich, then Villa, and then obscurity. I think he plays in Brazil. I think
nuts. He looked like because he was your main creative player. When he got pulled out, I thought, bloody hell, they're going to struggle. You never look back.
Just got better. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Lol. My one of my favourite football moments was 1981 FA Cup final against City, and the replay where Ricky Villa scored.
Oh God, yeah.
Probably still my favourite Wembley goal. Because
it's brilliant, isn't it? I never tire that one.
Yeah, he took it from 30 yards out and just the mazy run and, scored just an absolute blinder of the goal. And again, like, I know some Liverpool fans will have a go at me, but I had a soft spot for Spurs because my dad worked in Saudi, in Iraq and Iran. And on the way to Saudi, the Spurs squad was on the plane with him. And my dad doesn't like football at all and thought it'd be a right laugh to get all the autographs, and they were like, well, we have a spare shirt, we'll all sign it. So they signed it, and my dad brought it back and gave it to me, and I was like, what's this shit? He's like, this is Tottenham. And I was like, yeah, I know. I don't support Tottenham, Dad. I support Liverpool, you knobhead. You know, this is when I was like 10. So, yeah, it was like a year before the FA Cup final. So
Sure.
I still have it somewhere. And
That's a
probably
nice.
collecting dust. But, you know, I started actually, you know, keeping one eye on Spurs in the league and kind of, you know, back in those days, we all know, like, unless you went to the actual match, you could only watch match of the day for the highlights. They weren't showing these games on the telly like they do now. So I'd
No.
keep one eye out for Spurs in the league. I'd be like, all right, just as long as they're, you know, underneath Liverpool, I don't care. But I'd watch, you know, match of the day. I'd catch Hoddle, Mabbott, Garth Crooks.
Oh yeah, I met. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because
Archibald, I loved Stevie.
He's brilliant.
He's cheeky.
Yeah,
Cheeky.
Cheeky's good. It's funny. I don't know whether they're just kidding me on, but all my Liverpool mates, their London team seems to be Spurs. Nearly all of them. Yeah, all of them. I don't seem to like Arsenal and Chelsea so much. No, it's always Tottenham. It's always Tottenham.
You know why though? You know why? It's because we all know that you won't surpass us.
I know. Well, we had a little spell, didn't we, with Pochettino? That was great. Oh, God, yeah, we lost the final to you. That was a terrible final, wasn't it?
It was, and I think it got ruined in the first minute.
Bloody penalty.
I mean, come on. Like, even as a Liverpool fan, if that had been given against us, I'd be absolutely fuming.
Because that game, didn't it?
It did. And I mean, I know... It's just like, you know, are you supposed to just walk around like that on the pitch?
It was ridiculous. And to be the deciding goal, if we'd won it like that, I'd be a bit, it's great we won, but oh my God.
Yeah.
It's such a soft pen, you know. It was a real damp squid of a final, wasn't it? I'm not just saying that. I think everyone, I feel sorry for any neutrals that watched it. Jeez.
Yeah, it was terrible. And I had mates that went, and it was blistering hot as well. So by the time the game actually kicked off, half the people were just absolutely drained, you know, from drinking and yeah, it just wasn't a very good final to watch. I mean, I enjoyed Origi scoring like at the end. I thought that was a cracking goal, but you know, 70, 80 minutes of just shite. It's probably one of the worst.
Totally, Daz. I hope it's not like that tonight. I really wanted to play Real Sociedad, I think, because, you know, when we play another Prem, you've been there before, it doesn't feel like a sort of European final, does it? And also, it's a bit embarrassing. You've got 16th versus the 17th in the Premiership with a Champions League spot on offer. It just feels a bit, oh, God. I really wanted to play Real Sociedad. And it's in their ground, isn't it, tonight?
Yeah. Well, I'll just put a little disclaimer. This won't go out for like a couple of weeks. So, you know, hopefully we will both be happy with what happens tonight. I'm hoping Spurs beat United because I can't stand United. Can't stand the fans. Can't stand them. You know, and I'm sure you want Spurs to win. I'm sure lots of people, apart from Arsenal fans, don't.
Apparently, even some of them I've been hearing one, which is amazing. Just shows you what people think of Manchester United. God,
they're awful, and you know, actually, you and United have got to be happy because there was 3 worst teams. Both of you, like,
sure.
I mean, both. I mean, again, you know, I'm happy United are in 16th, but you two teams should not be anywhere near the bottom of the league.
No, it's embarrassing. And I feel no one ever mentions the poor old bloody fans, especially going to away games, travelling all over the country, watching that rubbish. It really bugs me, that whole, when they say, you know, the players haven't turned up. You know, I don't know about in your day job, but, you know, like when I do music for a film, this never turned up thing is just it must be the only job where you just don't turn up sometimes if you feel like it. It's just unbelievable. What about the bloody fans? They keep going on about they're not playing for the manager or not playing for the badge. I mean, it's just, do you know what I'd do as a manager? I would definitely bring fans into the dressing room.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd bring some diehards and say, just look at this guy in the eyes and tell. I can't believe no manager never does that. That's what I would do. That's
an absolutely brilliant idea. Like, if your team's down at like 2-0, what's better than to bring a fan down from the stands and absolutely like go to town on the players and be like, look, we've come 3,000-4,000 miles. I've saved for 6 months to come watch this pile of shit.
Yeah.
Pull your fucking socks up. Get on that pitch and at least show some passion, because that's all we want. I mean,
all we want.
When we were 3-0 down to AC Milan in 2005, you know, and it wasn't the best Liverpool team I've ever seen. You know, I mean, Stevie G put everybody, all that team on his shoulders, but still, I was like, just give me one goal in the second half and I'll be happy. Just show some passion. You know, that first goal went in, and I think every Liverpool supporter went, "You've shown us." You know, and then 2 and 3 went in, and we're like, "Holy shit, we're winning this now." So it's.
Oh yeah, that was incredible. And there was all those mad rumours, weren't there, about Stevie G joining Chelsea and all that. And I remember the interview when they went up to him, and he said, "I know what you're going to ask me." Oh, you probably heard of the weird rumours as well, why I didn't and that. But yeah, because Chelsea at the time were gobbling up everyone. When that sort of changed the Premiership as well. Abramovich coming in, and they just and then you had City doing the same thing a few years later. But bloody hell, that was a game changer, wasn't it? Players were moving. Good players were moving before that for like £5 million, and all of a sudden, well, everyone's like 34. It just went bonkers because obviously people were charging them premium price. It just changed the Premiership, didn't it? Really.
Well, agents as well.
Yeah.
Getting their massive sign-on fees and stuff. Yeah, I mean, money's kind of ruined football. I mean,
that's the big other question. As I said, a lot of my mates are ex-players, agents, managers, whatever, and I've been in. I mean, their company. They're all very. People are very down on the Prem, not football. I mean, I think it's a beautiful. I love the game, and they're all very up on the Championship and 1, 2. A lot of people go to non-league football now. But everyone thinks the Prem is it's like sort of McDonald's of the sort of. It's just lost. Not a lot of soul, is there? It's just. I think they should have put things in place in '92 when they started Sky. I think you should have had to field like say 4 outfield players that come through the academy every team, and immediately would give that bond between the supporters and the teams, because a lot of teams, I think they've just lost all their identity. I think people said to me, they don't know who they're supporting anymore. Loads of fans have said that to me, you know. And you've got the big sponsorship thing. No player comes from the area. Sometimes no player even comes from the country. It's like, and you know those guys, they'll be off in a couple of years' time. It's just, this hasn't been thought out. It's all about the money, isn't it? The filthy lucre, and they just haven't thought of the long-term thing, because the game will be a lot stronger if they put those things in place. And the fair play thing just seems ridiculous. I mean, Man City are just having a laugh.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Chelsea and their academy, and they sell all their academy players, you know. Totally. And it's wrong, and just I mean, like a few years ago, I just really nearly gave up watching, just because
I've got a few mates. I go and see non-league football quite a lot, and it's full of Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham fans, because the players give 110%. Half of them come from the area. And the standard's really good now, as opposed to like 10, 20 years ago. It was just like Route 1, big bloke up there, and they just hoof it up. But now they'll play on the floor, and they'll play. It's like proper foot, you know. And it costs a tenner to get in these teams. A lot of them are really good as well. I mean, they go on cup runs, and bloody Tamworth took Spurs this year to extra time, didn't they? You know, just like. So I don't know if the gap is. I don't know. It's just, yeah, a lot of people are down on the Prem. They need to do something. I know they've put in reports, the FA and the Premiership, because they're worried about losing a generation. When I go to the football, it seems to be people like us with their kids, and there seems to be a whole missing sort of generation. That sort of 15 to 25, that mob.
Yep.
Because they got so many. Because when we just had three tech channels on the TV, didn't we? And we didn't have, but now they've got so many things they could be doing, and it's so expensive. My last game at Tottenham cost me and my son £95 each. It's not £95 each. I mean, it makes you feel sick, doesn't it? And I know crap, but so yeah, it's I don't know if it's just anyway. So that generation. I mean, they all want to meet the opposite sex and have a laugh. If it's a choice between going out to a really cool club, meeting someone of the opposite sex, and having a right laugh and dancing all night, or going to football where your team might be shit. There's not much.
Well, that's the thing, we have the boys' pen in Anfield that I would, go to as well, and that's the younger generation, but. Football clubs need to come together and go, we've got to get this generation
Totally
go into the match.
Yeah.
Because
it's a habit, isn't it?
Well, it's getting quieter. I mean, Anfield used to be a bastion of noise every single home game. Now, some of these games, it's like a fucking morgue. And I hate to say it.
It feels like a sports entertainment. So the last game
You've got the older generation that aren't as loud anymore. Sure. You need these young 16-year-old to 25-year-olds to get the crowd going, get these songs going again.
100%.
It's sad to see, and I'm not going to get into this like day tripper bullshit that some people bring up, because like I live in America, and a lot of Liverpool American supporters that save up all year to go to Anfield, and I appreciate that. But, you've got people on the West Coast that get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch games at 5.
Yeah.
They do things that a local lad wouldn't do. They wouldn't get up at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning to walk to Anfield or something like that. It's just I don't like football is a global sport now. Everybody can watch it on the telly.
Sure.
If you can get it, this whole ticket price thing is absolutely insane. Nobody should pay, like you just said, 95 quid to go watch a match, because you're going to want to have a drink. You're going to want something to eat. So you've already spent 120, 130, 150 quid, and that's just on you. And that's wrong, I hark back to the days where my granddad used to shove me underneath the turnstile just to get in for free. And the lad at the ticket booth was the same one nearly every week, would just wink at me granddad and be like, all right, can't get away with any of that now. You pretty much got to give your blood sample to get into the ground. It's just getting so
corporate. Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see all the finals being played, right? It's a 70,000 seater stadium, but the two finalists are only getting like 20,000. The other 30,000 are going to cup, prawn cocktail, sandwich, champagne drinking. They don't give a shit about the game. They're there to be seen, to be on social media. It's wrong. And it's never going to change, because it's called greed. That's
they've opened the genie, the Pandora's box. It's been open now. It's very hard to put the lid. As I said, when they started in '92 with Sky and they started the Premiership, these things should have been put in place. It should have been wage caps, fair play thing. Teams should have had to field 4 or 5 outfield players that had come through the academies, immediately giving that connection between the team and the supporters. But no, it's just greed, and now it's becoming quite a soulless place. It's just I can see, as long as the TV money keeps coming in, I suppose it's sustainable. But if you start panning round grounds and there's all empty seats and there's no noise, there's no singing, no away fans, they're going to become vibeless. They'll start negotiating their monies against Sky and all these BT, because it won't be a good look if they're half empty stadiums. We've all got these bloody massive stadiums now. I mean, Spurs is 63. I mean, they're big, aren't they? And it's so expensive, and it's so vibrant. Like I said, bloody hell. You know, I jumped up and really cheered. Everyone looked at me like everyone's taking selfies when the other team had scored. You know, it was just, honestly, it's really, as I said, it's really changed at that level. As I said, all the other leagues I think are fine. Whenever I've got, they're all absolutely like it was. It's just the Prem. It's just a mad. It's a monster, isn't it? It's a bit of a.
Well, it's a brand. It's a marketing brand. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, I do want to get into the music part too, because
you asked me questions about music. Obviously, I did the football. I was a music supervisor on Football Factory as well, and I've done the firm. And I did a film called Untouchables, and I did a film called 90 Minutes with Rio Ferdinand. But ask me any questions about the music.
Well, I want to go back and talk about your musical roots, because I always like to know, like, you know, what was playing in your house as a kid. Like, what was your mum and dad listening to, and did that have an influence on your musical tastes?
Yes, it did, buddy. I certainly lost both of them last year, above 86. But Dad was lifelong Chelsea. But Mum and Dad, Mum especially loved Motown, soul music. So I grew up with all Marvin Gaye and the Supremes, and also the Stax and Otis Redding. They both really liked Bowie as well. She liked Bowie. It was my mum who was a football, who was the music fan. So she liked Roxy and Bowie, and lots of soul, even gospel music. She loved Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick. So I grew up with a lot, and that sort of, so I grew up with, going to football, listening to Motown. And then when I was really young, I got into punk rock. So there was that sort of thing going. And I love that whole casual thing. My hero, Steve McQueen, you know, I sort of love the whole so I love that whole culture. That's the making of me, really. But I know it. Yeah, I listen to a lot of soul music myself now still, and I suppose I still DJ, and obviously you know me through the drum club and dance electronic music. I always lended more toward. I was never really into sort of nosebleed techno, you know. I did like some type of stuff. I like beats. I do like break beats and that, but I was always more towards house and soul. But I do like it. I like it really funky. I like a real groove, you know. I love people like even like Earth, Wind and Fire and Prince, and but I do like I've always been, because I play piano and guitar, main instruments, guitars. But I really like I like Noel Rodgers' guitar playing, that chic sort of. Lots of black music, But I like Bowie. I always liked Bowie and a few different songwriters and that. But I was never a heavy rocker. I was never. Nearest I come, I suppose. I remixed a lot of the punk bands. I remixed later on, you know. Did dance mixes for people like Killing Joke and that, and all that, they call it the shoegaze thing. I mixed all those bands like Chapter House, Curve, Lush, all that mob, and people like Jar Wobble. The Alabama Three. I mean, loads of different stuff. It's been great with the films as well. It's been really, really interesting. I've just finished a really exciting one. The biggest thing I've ever done, actually, Daz. It's called Trap House. It's coming out in November with Dave Bautista. You know, the old wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him. He's a producer on it as well. So is Ridley Scott, which is mind blowing. His name come up, my name come up on the screen. It just blew my head off, because like my favourite films are Blade Runner and I mean, it's oh my god, the whole sort of an Alien and that, it just mind blowing, and Thelma Louise. But just done that. That's the thing I just finished about a week ago. That was a year. That was shot on the Mexican, lot in Tulsa, lot on the Mexican It's about the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency. I won't give too much away of the plot, but it's really exciting. It's real good fun. And on the other side of things, I've just done a fantastic British indie called Invincible. Did the score. It's totally different. You like that? See, it's got a real football tinge to it. It's being touted as the new Abigail's Party. It's mainly 4 people in a room. These neighbours move in next to each other and they have a dinner party and it all goes pear-shaped. It's really different for me because a lot of the things I've done are quite wham bam, real sort of fast cuts and exciting and whatever. So this is very different. So I played a lot of piano and it's very it was a play, so it's very dialogue driven. That's starting to go out on the festivals next week. I'm not sure when the release date is, but totally different. Totally different. British indie opposed to the big US blockbuster. But I've always loved. I don't know if you're. I always loved British cinema. I grew up, with Minder, Sweeney. I love seeing London on film. And I love things like Performance as well, and Get Carter and Long Good Friday. That was always. So I was quite happy doing the British films, as you know. I did a lot of British films like The Business, Bronson, and like The Firm and Football Factory. And I was quite happy in my British thing. I've never really gone for the big LA thing, so I've only done a couple of. I haven't really gone over there and courted it, but so yeah, it's nice doing. So I've done a couple of Danish films actually, but I do love British cinema. Very small, but I suppose I'd get just as excited about seeing Liverpool or London or Manchester or wherever on film as opposed to like LA, New York or New Orleans. But I suppose there's a lot more money in LA. That's why everyone the films are all big. Everyone gets paid more. That's why. They all live in Santa Monica, didn't they? I've worked with a few. I did Ray Liotta's last film last year. I don't know if you like Ray Liotta. Good film.
Yeah, love him. I loved
that was amazing for me. I did Dangerous Waters, his last film. He actually died during the making of the film out in the Dominican Republic, which is pretty bonkers. I mean, because I loved Goodfellas. It's like one of my favorites. So that was a real thing for me. But so I never met him. I worked on it after he died during making the film. And it's so mad. Another film I did called Obey won an award at the Tribeca. And he turned up the screen. I missed him that time. I think I must have gone off and had a pee or gone to the bar. Twice, one of my heroes, I never got to meet him. And now, so that film's available. That's on all the streaming, called Dangerous Waters. But yeah, no, it's been a good journey from sort of Gorilla and all that to Ray Liotta and Dave Bautista, but just lucky, really. You know what I mean? I know there's a bit of skill, but it's a lot of it, isn't it? Sort of being in the wrong place at the right time, Daz.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when Acid House came about, were you DJing before Acid House?
No, I wasn't, buddy. I was in I've been in a band produced by Bronson, actually, Bowie's guitarist at the end of the 80s. Then Acid House exploded. I literally took 2 years off and went clubbing. I was living
as you do.
As you do. I had a mad job, actually. I can say I was writing the naughty lines for the girls on the pool, getting £50 a script for the. Do you remember the phone lines?
Yeah.
One of my mates was running one of these phones. I used to write these mad scripts, get 50 quid a go, which it was so easy because I'm quite literal. So I bashed them out in half an hour. And I spent 2 years, and then I sort of learned the keyboards how to use a little sampler. So that was bloody mental. I don't know if that'd be on the CV. So yeah, I spent a couple of years doing that, raving in Pimlico. First Acid House, clubs like Into the Dragon in Kensington, 88. In the 90, then I started, got involved with the Spiral Tribe. We started doing all those free parties, which became quite legendary. I was very much part of that. We put our own records out, and we sort of got bigger and bigger. And in the end, we were sort of getting 40,000 people to these free parties. Castle Morton become a bit legendary. And on the back of that, post that, you had the Criminal Justice Bill, didn't you? So and at the same time, 92, started the drum club with my good buddy Charlie Hall. And the first record, You Make Me Feel So Good, as you mentioned, on Gorilla and Alchemy. And then we all toured. We did this MIDI circus. It was my idea, actually, but we all went out as a MIDI circus tour. First time electronic music live, Aphex Twin, Drum Club, all was called Spooky. Probably remember that, about 93. So that was a really good time. Then we signed a big live. Yeah, so, it's been quite a journey. I haven't really stopped. I'm still deep. I played, funny enough, last Saturday, I played at Dulwich Hamlet's football ground, actually, at the football ground. So, but there's always been a crossover for me, Daz. That's why when your podcast, I thought I've got to get on that, because I've always been banging. I love both things, and they're both so connected. I say one of my closest friends used to play for Brighton as well, Peter Smith. He was a right back in the 90s, and we all produced a real good footy film, which is worth checking, called 90 Minutes, which is myself, Rio Ferdinand, who he manages, Peter Smith, and Alan Niblo. Another good buddy. Second on Hackney Marshes. It's all like the grassroots football. Rio does a cameo. And that guy also, I can't remember his name, he was assistant to Lampard. He used to play for Chelsea, went to Leeds. He's got a cameo. Harley. I can't remember his bloody name. He does. He was at Chelsea, but didn't quite his career. He did a lot better when he went to Leeds. It's gone. Really nice guy, but him and Rio have got a really funny cameo walking around Hackney Marsh. Hackney Marshes is just bonkers. I don't know if you went there when he was in the UK. Just pitch after pitch. So it's about this Sunday League team. It's so funny, Daz. 90 Minutes, worth checking. Yeah, so I've always had, and I did one called Untouchables, which is an animation by the guy. I think he did the Senna movie. I can't remember. His Argentinian director. That was animation. That was a really cool film. But Football Factory was in 2002, which was a big one. So I was in the element with football, obviously crossing over. We've got a banging soundtrack. The Streets that just appeared, and got Primal Scream in there, The Jam, and that was Orbital. That was such fun. And then Nik did a new version of The Firm. So I've got all my jazz funk. It's all like Gap Band, Kool and the Gang. I love that stuff as well. So that was like,
When you do, when you are a music supervisor,
sure.
So it's basically, I guess if you're making a track, you need to call these people to get the samples. So is that what you were doing, calling the labels?
Exactly right. That's the admin part, Daz. So I literally, because I don't know anyone that does. I think there's people in America do. I don't know anyone that does both sort of skill sets, both jobs. That does music supervision and composing. I don't know anyone that does both. So blah blah blah. So a film like, say, Football Factory, I think a lot of those films have got like 15 to 20 source tracks in it. Like, say, I remember, The Jam Going Underground, for instance, is the end track in Football Factory. So, I have to talk to the rights holders on the recording master side and the rights holders on the publishing side, do a deal and pay them. So, people ask me those sort of questions all the time. Yeah, so for a film, a British film, like about $1.5 million budget, which is most of the sort of average budget I do for a British film. So you can expect to pay about $2,000 on each side for a sort of name track in the 80s, 90s, so about $4,000 a track. But it all varies. They all go up and down, and I've paid a lot more for that for certain other ones. It's always a lot more when you go over the pond to the States as well. They always want a lot more money. Mm-hmm. And there's certain acts which I can never afford, like Pink Floyd, the Beatles, and Led Zeppelin. Unless you're going out with someone's daughter or you're married to someone's sister, that's not happening. But I've had people really help me, bands like Coldplay and big artists who really support. They wrote an end credits track for me for a really cool film called The Escapists, and wanted a minimal fee. Were really good, actually. And they were involved in another film. I did a really cool film about the Calais jungle called 21 Miles. I mean, there's a lot of really cool artists. Pet Shop Boys were really cool when I was doing Bronson. There's certain artists who love. So if I get a little private screening, if I can get to the artists and show it to them, like I did with Mike Skinner's Streets for Football. If they love the film, then they can really get on the phone to their record company and publishers. So it's all about that. Really helps the one-to-one. If you can get to the artist, and because everybody wants their track in a cool film, don't they? If it's a really cool movie. So yeah, I've probably, God knows, I've probably licensed hundreds of tracks, Daz, over the years, and it's yeah, it's good. It's great, especially like you say, if you love music. And I did It's All Gone Pete Tong, the big clubbing film, a little cameo that was hilarious. All of us decamped and out in Ibiza for 4 months. It was like sort of, that was hilarious. We all got.
I bet you got some stories.
Oh my God, the stories are probably just as good as the film. There should have been another. The making of it should have been. So that was quite funny. That was with Paul Kay. So you should get him on your show. I'll give it. He's brilliant. He played Dennis Pennis. He's a massive Arsenal fan. You probably know that. He's a diehard, although you might not want him as a gooner, but he's a diehard Arsenal fan and football fanatic Arsenal. So that was quite funny. Me and him playing the DJ Frankie Wilder Goes Deaf in Ibiza, and so we'd always have a Tottenham Arsenal. So we used to. It's hilarious when the film come out. We'd go around doing these Q&A at all these cinemas, like the Duke of York in Brighton Harbour Lights and Southampton, and it always ended up being always about Tottenham and Arsenal, nothing to do with the film. And they were really funny banters. He's hilarious, but he knows his footy. Christ, he knows his footy. Really funny guy.
I mean, that's what it is, though, Lola. It's all entwined. Music, football, fashion.
I'm a big Liverpool fan who springs to mind. I don't know. I'll give you his. I've got a mad night tonight. Obviously, we've got the final. I've got to meet all sort of characters. But tomorrow is Barry Ashworth, Dub Pistols.
Yeah, I've had Barry on.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, me and him have a real. Yeah, he's massive. I'll give you Richard Norris's email tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah, but Barry, he was one of my first ones on because I've always been one great thing about the podcast is everyone I've brought on, I'm fans of. They like I say, you're all part of my musical upbringing, and to have a chat with you is just, it brings me back to my younger days, growing up listening to drum club in Liverpool and going, what is this? And I want more of it. Alchemy, I fucking love that track, and it's still I used to DJ a lot over there when I moved. I used to play a lot of the clubs and the raves, and I would bust out these tracks that were 20 years old, and have people coming up going, where can I get this? Is this brand new? It's like, no, it's fucking 20 years old.
No, I get that.
It just stands the test of time. There's certain tracks that just will live on forever. And Alchemy to me is one of them.
That means a lot. I'll tell you what's funny, Daz. I've been going to Berlin a bit over the last couple of years. There's a really cool record shop label, and they do nights called Sound Metaphors. So I was dealing with these guys on email and that, and I went out to DJ, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't believe it. They're all like late 20s, 30, and they're bonkers on that scene from like 90 to 94. Honestly, I went to this club. The average age in there, late 20s, absolutely fanatical for that sound. And they put out I did a drum club reissue, and they put out a bizarre record, the first record I made after my escapades in Pimlico, called Jewel in 1990. It was 500 white labels, and they love. Do you know what I mean? They are fanatical. They could tell me, what pair of shorts I was wearing in '93 at some club in Cardiff. They're unbelievable. And also, my son, the football one, who plays at a reasonable level, him and his mates, when I go in his car's his house music that sounds like the stuff we were doing from then. They're all really. A lot of youngsters are really into house music now. They really are. It's a big. I think they like Afrobeat and a lot of house. But the tracks he was playing me the other day sounded like something we would have done in 1993. It's unbelievable. And equally, like you said, I've been DJing before because I still play vinyl. I had people come up to me and ask me about "You Make Me Feel So Good." Alchemy, just saying they think it's a new track. So that's quite amazing, isn't it? Really, that is amazing, because a lot of people thought at the time it wouldn't sort of last, and it was all like, dance music has got quite a transient thing, I think, especially where it has moved on. But it seems like certain tracks, certain vibes, definitely just like rock music, I suppose. People, I'm sure young kids are still listening to Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin or whatever, and it seems Bowie, so it seems to be the same. So yeah, because it was written off as sort of being a bit sort of I don't know if the right word's lightweight, but just it wasn't taking that. I think everyone thought it was a bit fly by night, but certain tracks have definitely weathered the years, haven't they, Daz?
Yeah, well, I think, like, when you, if you're really big into the acid house scene, it wasn't just a scene. It was like for me, record shops like 3 Beat in Liverpool.
Oh yeah, legendary.
I made so many friends there because you're not only like crate digging, you're socializing. That's what you would do on a Monday. You go, hey, I heard this at Cream on Saturday night. Blah blah played it, like, and they're like, well, this might not be it, but here's 20 to listen to. But you'd converse, and I miss that because you kind of see the club scene today, and there's a little bit disconnection. Like I would go to clubs to meet other clubbers. Now it just seems like little cliques of people, and then the whole phone thing just blows my mind. Like dance music, you're there to dance, not to film. Again, like watching a football game for me, that's my heart and soul. Going to see a good DJ, that's my heart and soul, because I want that DJ to move me. I'm not, these things are great for certain things.
I agree.
They also take the soul away, because a moment in time should be in here.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you. I've had to rewire my brain, honestly. I'm not conspiracy nut or one of those. But I stopped reading books. I love books. And I know it was the phone. So I had all these pile of books. People buy me books over Christmas, and I weren't reading them. I'll tell you, because so used to scrolling, a different way of getting information. So I literally thought, I'm stop this. So I don't ever do any just sort of what I call brainless scrolling. I stop all of that. And I've started reading again. I'm loving it. But I literally, I fear for like our kids, because I don't know if they will be picking up a book. And I love books, and I love reading. I love reading about the Acid House, and I love reading whatever, history, music, everything. But God Almighty, I swear. I mean, who writes a letter anymore? Let alone, but reading, yeah, I think it's so good. I think it's you're feeding your brain, aren't you?
Well, everything's visual now.
Yeah, yeah.
If you say you need to know how to fix something on a car,
Sure.
Back in the day would get the car manual. You go on YouTube now.
Yeah.
Same with Ableton. If I need help with Ableton, I get on YouTube. If I need to, fix something
that's probably one of the better sides of it, one of the beneficial things about it.
Yeah, but it's all visual, and that's the thing. Like,
as in relation to books.
Yeah, while back in the day, if you needed some help with stuff, you need a manual. You'd have to read the
manual.
Yeah.
Love a good manual.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I would just rip up manuals as well, especially ones from IKEA, because they're not worth it.
Oh God, yeah, we had to get a couple of new beds in here, and we got a couple of. You have to get someone round to put it together.
Yeah, you have to pay someone now to actually do it, or you're going to come up with like something that doesn't look like what's on.
I know.
The box.
Yeah. So my girlfriend wouldn't risk it. So we had this guy came round for a Sunday, and he put together both beds, and it's really. No, I don't think. If I did, it'd probably just ping and you get fired out the bedroom window.
Oh yeah, I'm exactly the same. If I can't put it together in half an hour, it's getting broke, it's getting ripped, it's getting chucked out the window. Yeah, I have no time for it. I mean, my missus is always says to me, like, you're not patient enough. Like, I'm patient with me kids.
I get that.
I'm patient with me football team, but when it comes to putting stuff together,
exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't have time for it. Like, I mean, I nearly ripped up these things to put my shoes on, shoe racks.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it was just driving me crazy because it's like IKEA, you know. I know we're supposed to be talking about music and football, but, you know, we got to talk about life as well. IKEA always seems to have one less screw than you're supposed to. And you're like, where's the screw? You know, that one screw that you need to connect everything together, it's gone, you know.
You
And
do a good comedy sketch out of that.
they give you what, the L-shaped screwdriver for everything. Like, this isn't working. Sorry, IKEA, but this is not working.
Who carries this mythical thing that does it?
Yeah. There goes my IKEA sponsorship. Damn.
At the same time, I suppose it's for. I mean, I've got loads of it in this house, but yeah, no, it's funny. You need utmost patience, but you do need a certain skill set, I think, to put. My brain just doesn't probably work in that way. Actually, but I do get stuck in with. I love painting. I love doing loads. But there's certain things, I'm not putting beds together. I don't think. I can't get rid of your background. It's just the best backdrop there. It's just brilliant. Have a good trip.
Again, you know, my shoes on one side, got me Liverpool stuff, and then me older posters, and then, you know, me decks and some synths and stuff. Yeah, so it's that. But this is my little piece of heaven, you know.
So you asked me about Hoddle. So who's your fave over all the years, buddy? Shall I try and guess? I don't think you're going to go for him, actually. I would say, me as an outsider, I'll go for Kenny Dalglish, but I don't know if you're going to go for him. I saw your face when I said about him. I just thought.
Oh, like I said before, like, my childhood hero was Kevin Keegan because I was 6.
Oh, you said, yeah. But what about over the last sort of 20, 30 years more?
Probably Stevie. Kenny's up there. It's probably Kenny and Stevie. Kenny just because of what he's done for the club, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch.
What about Robbie Fowler? Where does he rank in your?
In my top 10, he's probably 6.
Yeah.
I mean, just his celebration against Everton, where he was snorting the line, is the best celebration. Nobody can beat that ever. I'm sorry. It was absolutely amazing. I can't believe he got fined for it. Or I think he might have got banned. But it was just because, you know, the Evertonians were giving him, like, you know, Fowler's been on the low. And that was the best, you know, celebration. And the Suarez one. Remember when he went to Moyes? I thought that was brilliant. But
two of them, the other guy, Suarez, and they called him the SAS, didn't they?
Yeah, Sturridge. Yeah, I didn't like that silly thing. What he?
I was at that mad game that you probably absolutely hate because of being the Palace season 2. I was at the 3-3. That mad game, that mental game.
Yeah,
you could have won the league, wouldn't it? That was already mad, wasn't it? With Rodgers,
The problem was, I mean,
we were winning 3-0 at one point.
No, but we had to score 10 to win the league. So that's why we went kind of mental. And after 3-0, I think we got overly excited. And Rodgers, our manager, should have just said, calm down.
Yeah.
And, you know, you lot scored 3 goals and worthy of your draw. But yeah, no, it was just a mad game. Yeah, just the loss to Chelsea where Stevie slipped. And it happens, you know.
Yeah, remember that. It was mental into the year, wasn't it? It was absolutely...
That was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking for me just because the team played so well and we were so close to winning it. It was just, and I won't blame Stevie, like, because it happens in football. You do slip, you do make you have a brain fart. It happens. You know, I'm glad we've had success after that. You know, I mean, Klopp brought the best football I've ever seen.
Yeah, I put him in with those I put him in with. I loved Brian Clough when I was a kid, actually. But Brian Clough, Shankly, he's of that mould, Klopp, isn't he? It's something a bit old school about him in a really nice way, you know. And you'd want to play for him if he was my coach and he put his arm
You
around
want to drink with him.
Do it, you know.
You want to drink with him as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing. But my biggest take on Klopp was he got the city, he got Scousers. You know, he and people like to compare Klopp with Shankly, obviously, because Shankly was, you know, Liverpool through and through, and he understood. He was a socialist. He understood the city, he understood the people, and Klopp understood that as well. He knew, you know, and like I was more proud when he got the key to the city, to be honest, because he deserved it.
Rightly so.
But you know, he brought me some of the best football I have ever watched, and I've watched some amazing teams. You know, Liverpool teams.
Very lucky.
And yeah, I'm very lucky. You know, and this season, you know, winning the league, I cannot wait. I don't care what any other opponent fans say. They can say we're, you know, it's worse this and that. I could care less.
Jealousy, mate. To be honest with you.
A number 20 is getting lifted, and I can't wait. Before we sign off, is there going to be any more drum club?
Oh, well, what there is going to be is going to be a drum club compilation. And I raided my DAT box and I found 4 or 5 unknown, well, they are unknown, unreleased tracks, and they're all pretty cool. So, yeah, we're doing that with the Germans again. As I said, there's this whole scene in Berlin. So they're called Sound Metaphors. As I said, they're a record shop, they're a record label, and they run nights, amazing nights in Berlin. And as I said, what's really refreshing, it's a really young crowd, which I love, as well as the old fart gang like myself. Not really the old fart gang, actually. It's all this younger mob. So that's really refreshing. So anyway, we're going to do a big compilation with them. So that we're trying to get it out this summer. So yeah. So you'll be the first. I'll get you a link or something to it. And what yeah. The last thing I had was a thing called a couple of months ago. Was a thing called, it's under the artist Saint Leonard, but I think on streaming it's myself and Saint Leonard. But it was written, I wrote the music with Brian Eno, which is pretty good because he's a bit of a legend, isn't he? So it's myself and Brian did the music, and Saint Leonard, really cool new artist. He did the top line and wrote the lyrics, so the 3 of us. But it's brilliant. And I've got a load of recordings with Mr. Eno, actually, instrumental, so I don't know what's going to happen with them. About 11, 12 of them, but they're really cool. I love Brian's. I love all that stuff. That was a big thing for me as well, especially after the parties. We'd come down or go to someone's house and that, and you know, invariably we'd stick on this stuff, you know, music for airports, ambient, all this lovely stuff he did in the 80s with Harold Budd as well. So that's really cool. But yes, there'll be a big compilation this year, mate.
Are you going to work with Duncan again?
Oh yeah. I love Duncan. So
I can't wait for the new spooky stuff.
Oh yeah, he's doing that, and I can give you his email tomorrow as well if you like. Yeah.
Well, I'm been going back and forth with him on Insta, and he's interested that he's finishing up the spooky album, and he just did the new stuff with Alice Cassian, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did 2 albums together quite recently. I think one was about 4 years ago. One's like 2 years ago. So he's out in Jersey. I went out and recorded that. But they're really cool records. I keep getting they're with K7, and they keep going. They're getting quite a little. They're real nice, cool, chill out, whatever we want to call it. I don't know all these weird names. Chill out, ambient. But yeah, it's some really lovely music. Yeah, I love working with Duncan. He's an old friend, you can imagine. We're from the same tribe. Say hello to him. I've taken him to some games. I've took him because of my work doing mentoring and at Crystal Palace, working with the foundation. I love the way we were called playmakers. I always wanted to be a playmaker. I've taken him. I remember he's got a sort of, he supports Man United. So I took him. I've taken him to Man United games down at Selhurst Park. But yeah, say hello to Duncan and maybe mention, we're really close friends. and maybe mention I've done the show.
Yeah.
Never talk to you again after. I'm joking.
Well,
I'm
everyone.
glad you called me today because tomorrow I'm either going to be ecstatic or so miserable, aren't I? So that's good we did it today.
Yeah. I know. Well, hopefully you.
I'm full of hope that kills you and it does.
It is, but hopefully, you know, you'll be the happy one, and he'll be the miserable one. I hate to say that, but you know, I just don't want United to anything. But if you want to check out Lol's music, you can go to lolhammond.bandcamp.com. Do you have a website?
Loads of it on Spotify as well, and
good old Spotify. Yeah.
a lot of my friends are down there. I mean, you know, it's all Apple. It's on all different things, basically. The stuff with the films, the drum club stuff, and various other projects like Slab and Galax Boy, and the two albums with Duncan, one with Roger Eno, Brian's younger brother. I mean, as a man of a certain vintage, there's quite a lot of stuff out there.
I'll tell you what, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. You know, as I always say, this like an hour really does go by quickly when you're talking about things that you love. You know,
right? Not like when you're working at the dentist or anything.
Oh no, yeah. But to have you on has been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Likewise, brother. And have a great rest of the day. And I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Dad.
Please, everyone, please like, subscribe, put your notifications on. And, you know, I always say this, you probably might get tired of me saying it, but it's my little end thing. Please go out and check out not just brand new music, but older music. Because there's artists out there that I'm sure that you've never heard of that might become your favorite artist, you know. And, you know, musicians put their heart and soul into their art. So, yeah, if a band comes to town or a DJ comes to town that you've never heard of, go. You know, you never know what will happen. You might think they're shit. You might think they're the best thing on earth. So, you know, just go out and try new things. But as I always say when I end this, please take care of one another. We live in a bit of a mad world, and just be safe. Until next time, I'll see you later.
Lovely words. Cheers, brother.